If you were brainwashed, how would you know? I'm the Kinky Polyatheist. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring just that. How to discover and break down your own brainwashing. Stick around. Which do you like better? Google Maps or Apple Maps? Is it the one that came pre-installed on your phone? How would your life change if you tried both Google Maps and Apple Maps and maybe some other mapping app to see which one you like best and then uninstall the ones you don't like? How do you think your life might change? That's exactly what we're going to do with our mind. One of the most amazing things that I discovered in my own life was that not every thought in my head is true. Turns out I was operating off of false assumptions, facts that were not actually facts, random things that other people said out loud one time, which I never verified, and literally some very insidious thoughts and ideas that found their way into my head somehow, that took root and tried to literally control my behavior. Once I realized these, once I discovered a couple of them, I started looking for all of them. And that's how I started to discover little bits of brainwashing and also how I began to overcome it. So today we're going to talk about exactly how you could do the same. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is also a podcast and a YouTube channel now, so look for links in the description for either or. If you have questions, send them to ask@KinkyPolyatheist or drop them in the comments or catch me on Facebook or whatever. Another thing I'm excited about is that I now have a Kinky Polyatheist store, so you can find things like this Kink Responsibly sticker. Look in the description for a link. Getting back to our Google Maps and Apple Maps example, I think about the human mind a lot like a computer or a phone. The human mind is basically just a bunch of processing power, and the question is, what are you doing with it? On your computer or your phone, you can install apps, and depending on what apps are installed, you can accomplish different things with your phone. The more apps you have on your phone, the more random notifications you're going to get. The slower your phone's going to run if these things are running in the background, and the less space you're going to have on your phone for new apps. Every now and then, you'll find yourself going through your phone, checking out all your apps, and deleting the ones that don't matter anymore. Or maybe never did. With your mind, you have ideas that get stuck in your head and just start to stack up. With your phone, you'll eventually run out of memory, and you'll be forced to walk through and get rid of all the apps that are just taking up space. With your mind, you'll never be full. So when are you going to stop and walk through the ideas in your mind to see if they're serving you, or if they're just clutter, or spam, or a virus? How about today? One other thing you might want to consider, when you buy your phone and you first get it, it's got a bunch of apps pre-installed. You had no choice in those. Who made those choices? It was probably the maker of the phone or the maker of the OS. Why did they put those things on your phone? Was it for your benefit or was it for theirs? Do they want you to use the email service, the music service, the map service that they're providing for their reasons? Or do they want you to use the best one for you? Odds are they did it for them. Odds are your Google phone or your Android phone came with Google Maps installed. And your iPhone came with Apple Maps pre-installed. For the simple reason that those apps benefit those companies. Google wants you to use their products and Apple wants you to use their products because they benefit those companies. Question is, what benefits you? I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but I personally have a no Apple products policy. This is because I used to have an iPhone, and the iPhone was wonderful, and I had Google Maps. And then one day the iPhone prompted me to update about 10 times until I finally did. And when I did update, it ruined Google Maps completely. I took it back to the store. I asked them to roll back my phone. They said no. And from that moment, I realized at any point in time, Apple could run an update and completely screw me over. So I told the guy in the store, if you can't roll back my phone, I'm going to walk out of here and buy an Android. And he said there's nothing I can do. So I walked out and I bought an Android. I will never have another Apple product. Number one, because it bugs me to update, and when it does update, I can't roll back. And number two, once you have one Apple product, it wants all the other Apple products. You need to have iTunes and their photo app and everything, and it's like a virus. It just takes over, and I don't want it. So I have a no Apple product policy. You might have a no Microsoft products policy. Whatever works for you is great. The point I'm making here is you should figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and then make a choice. Now let's take this idea back to our minds. What kind of ideas are running in your head that you never put there? Just like the phone comes with pre-installed apps, you have pre-installed ideas, habits, patterns, core values, assumptions, and facts in your head, and they may be in there without your permission. And they may be running in the background all the time and getting you to do things that you didn't even realize you were doing. That's why I'm referring to them as a virus. And that's why I'm saying you need to run an antivirus check on your own head. Find the spamware, the malware, the viruses, and get rid of them. So what do these even look like? Basically, it's things that were put in your head by adults when you were a kid growing up, or little assumptions or decisions you made as a kid observing the world and not understanding how it actually works. For example, which side of the road do you drive on? You didn't make that decision. How do you interact with people at work? Where'd that come from? What's your default breakfast in the morning? And why is that? What's your political party? Did you pick it? Or were you born into it? How about your religion? Did you pick it? Or were you born into it? Did somebody else find you with religion and convince you? Or were you put in a position to not even be allowed to make a decision? How about your default demeanor when interacting with the police? How do you treat restaurant staff? What are your thoughts on money or time or how you spend your time? What are your thoughts on love or relationships? Where did that come from? Here's a quick game. I'm going to say a few blanks and I want you to fill in the blanks. Don't think about it, just try it. First, I am blank. What do you get? Next, people are blank. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Just fill in the blank. People are what? Okay, one more. Life is blank. What do you get? Life is what? What's the first thing that jumps to your mind? That's a really good look at some of your defaults. If you take a moment just to do those three things, I am blank. People are blank. Life is blank. You will find out a lot about yourself and about your pre-programming. And if you compare your answers to your friends' answers, you can have some amazing conversations. With all the things I just mentioned, how many of those answers or conclusions are things that you actually took the time to figure out and verify? This is what I want. This is what works best for me. And how many of those answers are just a complete mystery, just a surprise? I don't even know where this answer came from. I don't even know how old I was when I made this decision. That's the kind of pre-programming we want to look into today. When I say brainwashing, I'm talking about all the pre-programming in your head that got stuck in there before you ever had a chance to know who you were or who you wanted to be. When I say brainwashing, I mean any thought or idea in your head that you operate on and you never took a moment to question. When was the last time you took inventory of all the apps that are running in your head and what they're doing? What kind of spam do you have in there? What kind of malware? What kind of viruses? What are the ideas that are spreading? What are the ones that are holding you back? What are the ones that were planted in there by somebody else to literally hold you back and hold you down? And how many of these ideas that are floating around in your head are not even true? When you come across one of these ideas, let's say people are blank. When you come across that idea, whose voice do you hear in your head? Who is saying people are blank? And how old were you when you heard that voice? Is it some random adult who said it out of rage? Is it some random adult who said it lovingly? Is it someone who said it to protect you? Is it a conclusion you came up yourself as a kid to protect yourself? Whose voice is it? How old were you when that voice is playing? That's a really easy way to identify if a thought or idea in your head is even your own and how old you were when it got installed. So it could be the voice of an adult. It could be the voice of another kid. It could be the voice of a family member, a stranger. It could be the voice of the TV. It could be the voice of a politician. It could be the voice of a salesman or a commercial. It could be the voice of a teacher or the voice of your priest. It could be the voice of rage and frustration. It could be the voice of fear. There's so many things that could be powering an idea in your head that you never questioned. Here's a quick example from my life. When I was 4 or 5, I overheard some adults talking about a small bamboo tree, a little potted plant. One adult said to the other, "That thing is full of cockroaches." And as a 4-year-old, I overheard this and I made this grand assumption. Ah, bamboo must be where cockroaches like to live. All bamboo trees, all bamboo plants must be houses filled with cockroaches. I don't ever want a bamboo. That's kind of ridiculous. And I know it's not true, and you know it's not true. But I didn't realize it. I didn't have that idea challenged until I was 13 or 14 when I saw a bamboo plant and mentioned something like that to a friend. And my friend went, "What? No, that doesn't even make sense." And I had to reevaluate that idea. Where would I be today if my teenage friend didn't challenge me on that idea and I didn't think about it, reevaluate, and readjust to be closer to reality? No, not all bamboo plants have cockroaches. However, there was one plant from my past that did. And the thing that I realized is that it wasn't a black or white issue. It wasn't a all bamboo have cockroaches or all bamboo do not have cockroaches. It was a gray area. Most bamboo plants don't have cockroaches. I just happened to be in New York as a kid, and this one plant had cockroaches living in. So when I was 12 or 13, I basically updated the app, and I got the right answer, and I've been good since then. How many other apps are running in your head that aren't working right, that need to be updated? So what we really need is an antivirus program to run on yourself and your own mind. So here are my 4 steps for running your own antivirus. Step 1 of being your own antivirus program is to be aware. Start being aware of the thoughts that you're thinking and the words that you're saying. You don't have to stop and question everything you say. Just take some time every now and then to reflect. What you're going to listen for are absolutes and also the word should. Absolutes include words like all or none, always or never. They're basically all or nothing statements. For example, all men are pigs. Or maybe, women never help me. How about, those people are lazy? How about, those people are dangerous? All of those are sentences that you should question if you have those thoughts in your head. Look for the word should or shouldn't. This is basically someone telling you how you should act, what you should do or shouldn't do. For example, you should get good grades so you can get a good job, so you can make good money, so you can be happy. Another example would be, you should wash your hands before you leave the restroom. In both cases, those ideas are literally directions. They're like operating instructions telling you exactly what to do. You should get good grades. You should wash your hands. The question is, have you taken the time to check the facts and validate, is this true? Is this true all the time? Is this really what I should be doing? With the case of washing your hands, yeah, there's a lot of facts, there's a lot of evidence there to show you should probably be washing your hands before you leave the restroom. So that's a good one. Keep it. But that other one, the idea that you should make good grades so you can get a good job, so you can make good money, so you can be happy, that one's dangerous. I'll talk about why that one's dangerous and how to dismantle it in a second here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget I also have a podcast now. Check it out, there's a link in the description. You'll also find a link to the store in the description as well. So step 1 in running your own antivirus is to be aware and look for all or nothing thoughts, absolutes, or thoughts that use the word should or shouldn't. Step 2 is something we already did. It's consider the voice. Whose voice are you hearing? Is it your own or someone else's? And how old are you? That's going to clue you in real quick on whether or not this was an idea that you came up with or someone else planted in your head and you've never questioned. So step 2 is just trying to identify who said it, where it came from, how old were you, and maybe what were they trying to do for you? Was someone trying to protect you as a little kid by saying never cross the street? Step 3 is to be curious. Challenge the phrase. Ask, how can I be sure this is true? And then demand evidence from yourself. Any thought or phrase that is an absolute is very easily challenged. All you do is flip it and consider the opposite. For example, if you find that there's a virus running in your head that says, I am stupid, flip it. Name a few cases where you specifically are smart. A few topics that you know about. A few experiences that you have that other people don't. If the phrase, I'm stupid, seems to fall out of your mouth from time to time, or I'm being dumb falls out of your mouth from time to time, take a moment to challenge it. So name some of the ways that you are smart. Name some of the things that you're knowledgeable about. And also realize that you could always read a book or watch another YouTube video. You could always learn how to do something you don't know how to do yet. And that skill alone sets you apart. That makes you smart. That's how you would challenge an all or nothing idea like I'm stupid. And you should do it as soon as possible. Think about how many years you've operated with this phrase in your head that is not true. Think about how many opportunities you may have let slip through your fingers because you had some false assumption in your head that you took as a fact. Something like, I'm stupid, or I'm not fast, or I'll never be skinny, or I'll never make money, or I'll never make an A, or I'm not worth the money. Identify them, break them down, turn them around. Another great example is the idea that opening an umbrella indoors is bad luck, or breaking a mirror is 7 years bad luck. Any idea that involves superstition should immediately be challenged. This is because what we focus on multiplies. For example, let's say you wanted to buy a red car. As soon as you make that decision, as soon as you have the thought, maybe I'll get a red car, suddenly you're going to start seeing red cars everywhere when you drive around town. It's because what we focus on multiplies. Our subconscious looks for it. So are you focusing on positive or negative things? Any phrase that involves bad luck means you're focusing on bad luck, and you will look for bad luck things to happen, and they will pile up in your life. But if you refuse to do that, if you instead look for good luck and opportunity, those will start piling up in your life. The idea that opening an umbrella indoors is bad luck or breaking a mirror is bad luck sounds like a really good thing to tell a little kid to keep them from opening an umbrella in the house because they'll probably knock something over, and to keep them from bumping into a mirror and breaking it because it's probably going to make a mess and they might get hurt. Little phrases like that involve bad luck are usually phrases to keep children safe or keep parents sane. You should probably go back and figure out whether or not they're helping you. By the way, that phrase that I just used on you, what we focus on multiplies, that is the perfect example of an idea that someone is trying to plant in your head without your permission. I just slipped that right in there because I believe in it, but I want to stop and call it out. Hey, I just shared a new idea with you. You should stop and think about it. Does this idea make sense to you? Is this idea based on fact? Is it self-evident? Do you find that the things that you focus on tend to multiply? Make your own decision. Think about it before you adopt it. And the last part of step 3, be curious, is to just go online and do some searches. And do some smart searches. Don't find yourself in an echo chamber. If you're Republican, don't go look at the Republican websites. If you're Democrat, don't go look at the Democrat websites. Go look at the other side. See what their angle and perspective are. Get both sides of an issue and then make your own decision. What you're going to find is one side of the issue is going to try and tell you that everything is white. The other side is going to try and tell you everything is black. but life is gray area, and you need to identify where you fall in the gray area. And like I've said many times before, demand evidence. Step 4 is to make an informed adult choice. You're an adult now. Now that you're considering your own thoughts, you're an adult. So make an informed choice as an adult. This is what works best for me, because it's right, because it's real, because there's evidence, there are facts that back it up. This is how I will operate in the future. I'm the Kinky Polyatheist. Like and subscribe. You can send questions to ask@kinkypolyatheist.com or drop them in the comments. Don't forget, we have a YouTube channel and a podcast now. Links to both are in the description. And please check out my store if you want to find some really cool products like Kink Responsibly. Or maybe something with my logo on it, which I love, because my logo is basically a triad with 3 people, 3 connections, and one of the connections just happens to be kinky. I'm the Kinky Polyatheist. Kink responsibly. Here's another one. I always say like and subscribe, and I always encourage you to ask questions. Why? Am I just telling you what to do? Why should you like and subscribe? Why should you ask questions? Well, simply put, if you like and subscribe, I'll know I'm doing a good job, and I'll make more of these videos. If you don't like and subscribe, I might stop making them. As far as questions go, that puts you in the director's seat. You could literally get me to answer the questions that help you the most. So by you asking questions, you're helping me help you. That's why I always say like and subscribe, and that's why I always encourage you to ask questions. So I guess the next question is, what program is running in your mind that is keeping you from liking and subscribing? And what program is running in your mind that is keeping you from asking questions? Because if you like and subscribe and ask questions, all you can do is benefit. I'll catch you next time.